So the league campaigns are over. We ended up losing quite a lot of money. So welcome to the end of my first season as manager of Barcelona, the 5th club in this European Journeyman, by far the biggest, and we are piecing together something special. So we've got our budgets for next season. First off, 164 million we have to spend, 5 million on wage budget. Also, in the next episode, we will be recapping the Club World Cup, which we are taking part in. Don't quite know why. Maybe it's taking part in Spain. That's why we're in it. Because I do assume that only the league champions go into it. I'm not too sure, but we definitely didn't win the league title. Just in case you wondered. So following on from the last episode, we did get drawn against Chelsea in the playoff round of the Champions League. We beat them 2-0 in the first leg. They also went down 10 men, Mark scoring both of our goals. Unfortunately, that's about as far as our European journey went, because they beat us 4-1 at their ground with a 120th minute winner in extra time. We had to hold on for about 6 more seconds to take it to penalties. Now, in terms of our league form, you will see a lot of greens and only 1 red the final day of the season. So we drew against Atletico Madrid and we drew against Villarreal, whilst losing to Real Madrid on the final day 2-0. Apart from that, we won every single game domestically. We did end the season quite strongly. We ended up finishing in 2nd place. We finished 4 points ahead of Atletico Madrid. We finished 15 points behind Real Madrid. They lost 1 game all season. They lost to Atletico Madrid away. They only defeat the Madrid derby. Now you can see Mark finished top goal scorer with 30 goals. I have to say, I spent 55 million on him. I get it's a lot of money. But wow, he finished top goal scorer in his first season back. Career stats, it's his best season ever as well. 32 games in the league, 30 goals. So fair play to him there. In terms of how we looked compared to everybody else then, 62% possession, so we definitely had the best there. Goals-wise, we scored the 3rd highest at 79 goals. Real Madrid scored 95. In terms of passes completed, we topped as well, 21,863 to Villarreal's 20,600, so we finished at about 1.2k more. And we also had a 90% pass completion, which I think was the best it was, alongside for the clubs Atletico Madrid, Villarreal and Real Madrid. So, yeah, we held the ball well, we passed it well, and we definitely tried to play the Barcelona way with our proper short, quick passing. Defensively, how do we do compared to everybody else? So we've had the 3rd best defensive record. Real Madrid only 20 conceded, we conceded 33. Now, I do want to point out that Real Madrid's team is very old. 33, 35, 33, 31, 31, 34, 31, 31, 34 in goal. They have also, I will point out, they have just won the Champions League. So, they did end up winning. Did they win the cup as well? No, they didn't. Okay. Ha! They didn't win the treble. They just won the double. But the Real Madrid team's looking very old. I do kind of hope that maybe we can push them, because we flipping that. We are almost on the opposite end of that in terms of we are getting a very young side. And in terms of the side, I do want to also mention that we have ended up winning the Under-19 Trophy Cup thing completely. So we ended up going through. We won the league. As you can see, where's our league? There. Group 3. We won it, 1 defeat, only to Real Zaragoza. And then we went to the quarterfinals where we beat Tenerife. I call it Tenerife, but everybody else says Tenerife, so I thought I'd throw it in there. We then beat Cordoba in the semi-finals before 5-0 demolition over Real Madrid in the final with Mari, who we obviously picked up from Granada at the start of the season, and developing very nicely. De Rosso, I think he might have to go up into the first team for next season as our backup attacker mid-striker. I'm not sure. Maybe another season in the youth teams. You can see here, it says he's only ever been to Barcelona, but also says last club Sporting Kansas City. But our Under-19s then had a successful end to the season, and our B squad ended up finishing in 4th place with 71 points. Only 8 points from winning the title. I would have loved would love it if we beat them. I would have loved it if our B team ended up winning the second tier. Maybe in a year or two we can get them to that point. So in terms of recap now, people don't know who is tickling my fancy for the next season. Oh no, before we look at the youth players, intake wasn't that amazing, but there's a couple. So first off, Enric Asina is a central defender. He's got very high determination. I do think that might help boost him in terms of his development. He's 5'10" though. That concerns me. He's only 15. I wish I was 5'10" or 15. There's a goalkeeper who I don't think is that good. He might develop enough to be our B team goalkeeper. And we've got a defender stroke central midfielder potentially. Really good bravery, 20 bravery. He is 6'3" at the age of 15, so I do think this guy probably has a little bit more potential to get given a chance for us. We have a striker in a Apaya who again isn't too bad. Be interesting to see how he develops. Got a Norwegian here in Theodor Aslid. Defensive mid, not a world beater. We've got a right winger who's probably better than that central attacking mid. And another striker here is getting mentioned who, again, not too bad. The only thing I would say is we did have a few players in this team early on who were quite poor. And they have developed into very, very good players in terms of potential, etc. So there is always hope that they can come through. So we have, for example, this guy. He did end up playing a cup game for us this season. He's okay, and he's only 16. So I'm very interested how he's going to develop at the club. Where is the other people? That obviously DeRosa we spoke about. I do have a lot of hope for him. And then you have the central defender here who mentally is fantastic, but just hasn't developed how we would have hoped. So some have really pushed on and some just really have struggled. Now in terms of the B team, there's a couple of gems here who I don't know how, but we need to find out how to fit them in. So for example, we have Pep Ali, who now has a media description of Wonder Kid. I don't see insane quality here. The media apparently do. He's got another 2 years on his contract. He's going to continue playing for our B team, I think, next year. He is wanted by Monaco and Nice. Now, have been losing money, so should we let him go? I think if we got an offer of closer to 20 million, he might be somebody we consider letting go. But there's some talent in this B team. Let's go through our... This is the team that played. Let's go to fixtures. Let's bring up the last game of the season. Okay, we've just won 1-0. Let's have a look at the team who played. So first off, Joseph Luis in goal. He's a decent keeper. He's 6'2". He's definitely a keeper who can play for our B team. You have this Nigerian who we looked at who's in the youth team. Played. You have Preto, who is a central defender, stroke defensive mid, who's not that good but seems to do a good job for our B team. And Tony, who I think is a very, very good central defender. He's 6'4", 20 years old now, and just has all the right attributes except aggression. I would like him to be a bit more aggressive. We have Alfred, who is a left winger, attacking mid, who's been playing a left wing back. I think he looks really, really good. 5'7". He's got fickle personality though, and he does like big matches. And with a value of 7.5, he's on 40k a week. He is type player who maybe we're going to look at moving on over the summer. You have Foch, who plays in defensive mid for the B team. He's on 10k a week, but he's the type player who I would say is a B team player. You have Vincenz, who is a defensive stroke centre mid, 24 years old. Contract is running out and he's going to Malaga. This guy had a weird attitude. We tried to negotiate a new contract for him. He wanted 40k a week. 40k a week. Okay, this guy is just not that good, but does seem to feature quite a few times. Bruno, I don't understand. He's developing so much. Again, fickle personality puts me off him, but he's just developing so much. I think another season at our B team, if he keeps developing, we might have to give him some time in the first team. We might have to. Raul Leon, I think, didn't we look at him? I don't think we did, but his contract is running out, and he doesn't like big matches, etc. So I think I'd rather just let them play a younger player in them games. But yeah, our B team's done okay, finishing 4th in the second tier. I'm interested how they're going to continue to push on, because our first team has some insane talent, but some players might actually end up dropping into the B team for next season. So in terms of how people did this season, and so Mark, top goal scorer, 38 in 37 starts, 5 sub appearances. Emmerich picked up 10 goals in the end in 18 starts. Finshu with 7 in 27 starts. Fatty with 7 in 23 starts. Kondik with 5 in 6 starts. Alex ended up picking up 5 goals in all competitions in the end. And Pedri picking up 5, Sainz with 4, etc. In terms of assists, Fort picked up 12, Pedri with 11, and Bernal with 10, Finshu with 9, Balde with 9, and Cucurella with 6. Cucurella actually set a record of an 8.35 average over 5 appearances in the Cup, was a new record, but he's doing okay. He's not developed massively over the season, how I would have maybe hoped he would have, but he's done okay, and as an 18-year-old who can play both wing-backs, it's very useful. Now, over the summer, we do have a couple of plans of what I want to do. There's a couple of players in the youth teams who I think deserve a shout. There's a couple of players who I think might end up getting dropped down. There's a couple of players who are leaving us. So first off, Alphonso Davies. He's 33 now, turns 34 during next season. He's on 300,000 a week, plus I think it's 140k when he plays a game. What is it? Where is he at? Alphonso Davies. Sorry, 58k, but still 350k when he plays. Get him off our wage bill, to be honest with you, and just move him on. In terms of players who I'm going to drop down, Sainz, age 21 now, with his 6 determination, it's just, he doesn't do that well. 14 starts for me through the season, only 4 goals, 2 assists. I'd rather bring someone like that Bruno up, the Brazilian, play him, and Sainz plays for our B team. Unfortunately, I think Rod Torres is going to either go to our B team, or we're going to send him out on loan for next season to another club in Spain, and just try to continue to get him football and see if the determination goes up. He ended up playing 8 games for me in the league this year, so he's played 8 times for Barcelona. Not many people can say that, but I do want to try to get him some football somewhere, but I want to keep him contracted at our club, so we'll keep an eye on Rod. Same with Alex. I think Alex, unfortunately, is probably going to drop down in our B team. 3 goals in 13 for the first team in the league. 2 goals in the cup. Again, how many people can say they played 13 times for Barcelona? If I find a replacement striker, he's going to drop into the B team and maybe on loan to the 3rd tier. If not, he will stick around, be our backup for next season. But maybe we need someone of just a little bit better quality. Unfortunately, they haven't developed how we would have hoped. When you look at the likes of Valde, who's developed really, really nicely, but didn't do fantastic. It didn't do fantastic. 93% pass completion, but only 73% tackle completion. So Valde ended up finishing the season on the bench. Finshu did start the last game of the season, but didn't start as many games in the second half of the season, with 14 sub appearances. But as you can see just above my head, 27 appearances of right wing back, 2 goals, 7 assists. Centre mid, 9 starts, 2 goals, 0 assists. Attacking mid, 9 starts, 3 goals, 2 assists, 7.18 average. He had a really good average, Finchy. He's still only 20. He actually seemed to do better in attacking mid. In the final game, I did actually play him in attack mid as support, because that's what he suits better, and I did also set him not to shoot so much. Now, I forgot to mention Esteles in the last episode. He came up to the first team for the second half of the season. When I mentioned some players who came up and got given a chance in the first team, I forgot to mention him, but he's still only 19. He did okay, to be honest with you, he really did. But when I look at the team we've got now, I'm just making sure I've got the best 11 out, I would say. Potentially. Central defence, I'm a bit stuck. So we've got Blanco. Then we've got a back 3 of all academy players in Severio, Kabasi, and Murcia. Then Fort and Balde also academy players. So that is 5 academy players. Bernal's academy, Pedri's academy, Mark's academy. That's 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 11 are academy players at the minute. And then we've got the likes of Emery, who we picked up, 7.13 average. Emmerich, 7.38 average. This is one of the tough calls. So first off, this central defender here, 19 years old. He asked for a new contract and I tried to negotiate. He wants 150,000 a week. So obviously I said, I'm not doing that, mate. Not right now. You need to prove to me next year you're going to develop even more. But at the minute, he's a bit pissed off. But we also have, for example, Juncker, who has a perfectionist personality. And I think could develop. The only thing he's lacking is the fact he can't pass a ball. He's still working on it. But he's unhappy with training, but you learn how to pass a ball, mate. At 6'4", 19 years old, you could step up into being a starting player. But we also have Hollinshed, who's just insanely good. A 7.11 average, 9 starts, 5 sub appearances. We need to find a way to almost squeeze him in as well to the squad. So I'm a bit torn as me. Now, one of the things that interests me is Kabasi is wanted by Manchester City. He's on 700,000 a week, okay? And he's on an appearance fee of 130. Tried to negotiate a new contract, couldn't get it done because he just wants so much. It's almost 800k a week we pay this guy. Is he so much better than some of the other people? Like if I put Junker in instead of him, for example, is it 800,000 a week better? I'm a bit torn on him. The fact he's an academy player is the only reason he's not being just transfer listed. The only other one as well I would say is Pedri. And it's for the exact same reason. He's 31 now. A year left on his contract. He's on $500,000 a week. Does he have a appearance fee of 74k? Now the only difference is with Pedri is he's not an academy player technically. So he's been at the club since 2020. We paid 6.25 for him. So he's been at the club since he was like 17, 18, but we might have to move him on because as you can see, a con is recent decline. If his physicals are going to dramatically drop over the next 12 months, are we paying $500,000 for someone who kind of drifted away of not being good enough for the first team? And them two players coming out would free up about 1.2k a week in wages to look at strengthening. We do have the likes of Condit could even step in straight away for Pedri, age 23 now. And we do have 2 players coming in, pre-range transfers, who I think could be game changers for this squad. And then apart from them two, I do think all of our business is going to be moving B team players to the first team. I don't plan on signing anybody else. One of the players we signed is 27 and one of them is 19. So one of the players we are bringing in is a young player for the bench. The 27-year-old technically has agreed a contract to be a squad player, but will probably overtake Pedri and it'll be him and Emmerich in attacking mid. It's big calls when you're looking at removing an academy player like Kabasi, who is also the captain, but he has such a high value and would save so much money. It's a tough call. Another thing to mention in the end is we're getting our pro license. We are studying. Look at how my attributes have improved. It's massive. This journey's been insane. Another second place. Look at my finishes. Saw something about the Stockport manager in real life has had 14 seasons, never finished outside the playoffs. Kind of like him, but at a more successful club now. Now, I love the fact that we have a competition win here for what looks like pretty much just a cup competition we set up. But I'll take it. I'll take it. But that is it for our first full season of Barcelona. Hopefully you are enjoying the series, because I am. I'm excited to get into the winter window and rebuild this club. And just try to give them little tweaks as we look to chase down that 15-point gap on Real Madrid, whilst also not continuing to skip money, because I'm just curious. FFP. Okay, so we are currently 423 million in profit. Okay, ignore that. I'll see you in the next episode.